What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell, this is not my normal place. In fact, I'm in Lisbon, Portugal, and it has nothing to do with my Airbnb. But I wanted to give you a behind the scenes look at how I'm able to manage my Airbnb even when I'm 6,500 miles away. So I am here in beautiful Lisbon, Portugal for the next week. But before I get into the details on why, if you could hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, I would be forever grateful. So as I mentioned in one of my first videos, I sell supply chain optimization software, and my territory takes me all over the globe. And the company is global, and I sell it all over the globe. In fact, I specialize in Latin America right now, but because we're having a big sales kickoff for 2022, I'm here in Lisbon, Portugal with all of my colleagues. And none of the credit of this video goes to me. It was actually my wife's idea, who said, "You're traveling a lot. You should make a video about how you're still able to manage your Airbnbs even when you're across the globe." So shout out to her for the great video idea. And another reason that I'm making this video is because a lot of us travel for our 9-to-5s, or we can't dedicate 100% of our free time to looking and searching and managing our Airbnbs. So I wanted to be transparent about that I also don't have all the time in the world to do all of that, but it definitely is possible. Now in my current role, I'm traveling anywhere between 30 and 50% of the time, which means that it is pretty difficult to manage my Airbnb, although it's definitely not impossible. And let me know in the comments if you're interested in me making a video about what it is that I do during my 9-to-5. Love to do it, but again, most of this channel is focused to Airbnb, so I don't want to get distracted. So how is it that I am able to make my guests happy even when I am on the other side of the equator? And there's really three things. The first is a proper setup of your Airbnb. I can't emphasize this enough. Launching your Airbnb from a point of confidence and preparedness is absolutely necessary. That means that you have to get things right the first time. There's a quote that I really like that I think sums up this concept. John Wooden, one of the most winningest basketball coaches of all time, said, "If you don't have the time to do it right, when will you have the time to do it over?" And I think this absolutely applies to our Airbnbs. Set up your processes, get things ready so that you don't have to do it over and miss out and hurt yourself in the long run. The next step in remote management is automating your processes. I know it feels like in every single video I talk about automate your process, automate your messages, automate this, automate that. And the reason is because when you don't have time to respond to your guests and you have messages to do that, it's going to save you on your reviews. It's going to make your guests happier, and that's ultimately going to get you more reservations. So these automation of processes is really a mix. The first is automation of messages. And that's not just messages to your guests. These are also messages to your cleaner and anyone else who might be interacting with your property. I've got my messages basically completely automated so that my cleaner knows when to show up. She knows exactly which days she needs to show up. She knows exactly what the processes are. And if a guest leaves the place in a total disaster, we have enough time to make sure that we can get it cleaned up before the next guest arrives. And finally, step number 3, having backups for my backups. Honestly, this is the best way that I have found to be able to remotely run my business. Having a backup to everything is essential. I've got 1.5 million batteries, I have tons of extra light bulbs, I have tons of extra blankets, pillows, cleaning supplies, brooms, vacuums, hair dryers, you name it, I've got an extra of it. Anything that I could possibly think of that a guest might run out during their trip, I have extra of it, so that if a guest asks, I can say, here's where you can go and find that extra thing so that I don't have to tell them you gotta go down to Walmart and pick it up yourself. I think that brings a lot of customer satisfaction and it makes my job 10 times easier. So my advice to you is that you use the same strategy. Find backups to your backups. If you're replacing lights once a year, make sure that you have 2 or 3 years supplies of lights so that if and when something happens, you can quickly change them. The other would be all of those daily things that your guests are going to be using. The soap, the shampoo. Make sure you have a lot of that stockpiled just in case a guest goes crazy and they're using a bunch of shampoo and they're like, "Alex, we ran out of shampoo," and you don't have to send an Amazon truck to go drop off a barrel of shampoo for them. So that's really it for this week's video. Really, those 3 things are the only reason that I'm able to automate my business even when I'm 6,500 miles away. Properly setting up my Airbnb, getting those processes automated, And then finally making sure that I have backups to my backups to my backups so that if something goes wrong, I'm ready for it. So do you have an interest in Airbnb? Let me know. Feel free to message me at my email that you can find in the About section. I'd love to hear what deals you're working on, if you want to partner, anything like that, I am open for it. On top of that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I've got a ton of different videos around Airbnb, and I'm sure there's one that'll catch your eye. In fact, I really think you're gonna like this video.